Welcome back, everyone. We're here with the AD carry for Tricked. This is Chrisland. Chris, you guys played a tight game, but it seemed like you guys were scared of your opponents throughout the game. I mean, did you feel that way?
To be honest, I didn't like. I was really confident in going to the game because we scrimmed property before playing this other qualifier, and we did pretty well against them. Like they played that cheesy comp they played against H2K, and we won 2 games against that comp. So I was really confident like they wouldn't pick it against us.
Oh wow! So what was going through your minds when they did pick it? You thought easy win, maybe?
I didn't think easy win. Like we really wanted to get the 2v2, but we only got a ward at red, and then someone called like, okay, bot lane, go bot. And we just followed the call, and it was really bad. But even though it worked out for us because we got the tower and we got the Drake, Doris fucked up a bit by dying, and they got a tower. But it was fine in the end because we got 2 objectives out of it.
Yeah, they were. I was listening to the casters. It seemed like a turning point in the game where maybe you guys stuck around a little bit too long at Drake, and that seemed to be when Property came in and started forcing you guys back a bit more.
Yeah, that initial Drake, you got the tower, you got the first Drake, that was really good, and you got a great lead from there. You must have felt pretty good after picking up that trade, even if you did lose the top tower. But then, yeah, the next Drake came up, and you went for a bit of a 5v5 engagement, and you got a great pick on Thresh, finished him off before the Shen ult completed, immediately had the numbers advantage, finished it through, took another Drake. After that one, however, hung around a little bit too long. We saw Zivis on Ezreal just stayed a bit too close, gave Vayne an extra free kill and gave them the numbers advantage and allowed them to bring it back on top of you. What kind of went through your minds at that point? You just lost 4 people, you'd just given up some kills to some very critical targets, but it wasn't completely over, it just kind of leveled the game out a little bit. What were you thinking there? How are you thinking, how do we gain control of this game back?
After the Drake?
Yeah, after that 4v1 engagement with Vayne and Gragas picked up some big
like, we were really mentally down because I was really crying when we died. Like, I told them so many times that I would get the mid tower and they would just, like, they got a pick and then I moved instantly and we didn't get the Drake, no. We chased them too much, like, 2 of us died for no reason. Like, Doris had 1 second on flash for stunning Vayne, but that's just unfortunate. Like, we shouldn't still not chase them because they just came back and backfired. They got 4 kills on us, and like that's pretty much game because our comp is like we have to win the early game. Like we have Caitlyn, it's better against Vayne, even though she got some kills, but we can just still push. And we have Ezreal, who did really well against the Shen. So I don't know. Like after that, it was lost, to be honest.
I was just curious about the composition you guys decided to run. You went double AD. Obviously, Ezreal was in mid. You were playing Caitlyn at bot. Was there a pre-planned element to that, or was it a case that you're just trying to counter Gragas in mid? Because Gragas was left open, he's a top-tier champion, and he's been banned in every previous game. So was it just a case of trying to counter the Gragas out of mid?
We tunnel vision too much about countering the Gragas because like we had Renix on top, and the only magic damage we really had that game before we the only magic damage we had was like Shyvana with the W and E. But like I didn't know what happened because we picked 3 ADs against a Shen. Like he just runs Fawn Mail and Sunfire, and we're never gonna kill him like before 35-minute mark.
Yeah.
And they even got ahead, so it's even worse for us.
Yeah, just hit that point with Shen when we looked through the item. You had Sunfire Cape, you had Thornmail, you had another Cloth Armor and another Giant's Belt ready for the Randuins. And I mean, as soon as that Randuin got complete, unstoppable force. The guy was just doing what he wanted in whatever lanes, and by that point his ult was too powerful. I mean, they just kept you locked into your base for the last 5-10 minutes of the game, took down all the outer turrets, 3 people in mid. Vayne was soloing Shyvana down in that bottom lane. Is there any point you think maybe we could have done that better? Could have got onto that Vayne. I mean, she's not the safest of people on her own, but leaving her down there alone, she basically had free farm against Shyvana 1v1. Do you think there's any situation you could have got onto her, perhaps picked up that pick and made something more of that, or was she untouchable the entire time?
She was untouchable, but what I think we should have done, we should have left Shen top because he got no attack speed items or anything, so he couldn't take down the towers fast. And we waited so long, so we all have the summoners up, so we could just put a 4v3 engagement on mid, but we never had the balls to do it.
Fair enough. Similar way to go.
Didn't have the balls to do it. Well, you guys should have the balls next time. This was an exciting match, though. We were a pleasure to watch. You guys are coming back tomorrow. You're going to be facing one of the BYOC teams, and you still have a chance, I do want to say.
Yeah, we know.
You guys know. So what are you guys going to be doing tonight, Fair?
Like, we're gonna talk a bit. Like, we're hoping some of the team will scrim on the tournament realm, like, so we can get some practice because we haven't really practiced on the 3.13 much only with property. So yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna discuss a lot and see who will go through to the last spot in the group. And we hope they beat property and we beat them.
What kind of what kind of mentality did you guys have coming in? Because you were late replacements for one of the 3 teams that dropped out. Was that a shock to the system coming into this, or were you already ready and willing to jump in head first?
We were ready to jump in.
Cool. Okay.
Great. Well,
like the way I feel it, we had the better group. Like we have H2K. I beat them sometimes in team rank, but that's not much because if this is a tournament, we also had property, which we know really good. So we kind of knew this was the best chance. Like we had the best group to even go further to the semifinals. But we're 0-2, so we just gotta wait tomorrow and see what happens.
It came in high spirits. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. That's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's good to know that you're still in good spirits now. That's for sure.
tomorrow will be the arbiter. We look forward to your games then. Thank you so much for coming up here, and get some good rest, get some practice on that tournament realm, and scope out those kids in the BYOC.
Am I allowed to do some
You can shout out all you want, man.
Okay, I want to thank for all the people in League of Legends Denmark who have been following us and rooting for us. Like, we faced the IPG in the qualifiers, and it was so good to beat them because, like, there's some beef against the Danish team every time. So that's really good. And I also want to thank our new main sponsor, Phoenix, for letting us come here. Like, they paid everything. And also Puma and Rocket for giving us the gear and the shirts. And then I want to thank to all my friends who have been watching this and been rooting for me.
Oh, yeah? Do you have some messages they've been sending you?
Yes, a lot.
Oh, great.
Any particularly stream-worthy? Are they friendly?
What?
Any particularly stream-worthy?
Anything you can share?
Oh, no.
No. No, standard.
No.
All right, well, big shout out to your sponsor, too, for bringing you in on such short notice. So thank you so much for coming here. Thanks for the excellent games, and we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you get some good rest. All right. We are going to be beginning Group B. Are you guys ready for this?
This is going to be a big one. This is the SK Gaming group. This is what a lot of kids have been waiting for.
All right.
I think my body is ready.
Your body is ready. Well, the groups are ready. The players are in their seats. Let's take a look at how they're sitting pretty.
I know, Svensken's down there. I'm not sure he's sitting pretty.
Oh, he's not? No. Oh, they look pretty. So first up on LowLandLions, we have Kyle's on support. Coming up next, we have the AD carry Visility. I Am Heat is on mid. Next to him, we have Broto in the jungle. I found out he used to be a Call of Duty forecaster.
Yeah, he did. I'm a big fan.
These FPS guys sure find their way. And rounding out the team, we have Morsu. He's going to be playing top.
Yep, so that's going to round things off nicely for LowLandLions. Back onto SK Gaming. First up is the UK, the only player representing UK, Freddy122. Second is going to be Svenskeren rocking out the jungle.
Why did he get a cheer?
in mid, it's going to be Jez's. It says Svenskeren, so again we've got a clone.
Swedish name, I think.
Yeah. And next up, it's going to be the duo lane. First off, AD carry of Candy Panda. We went back to Nif now, who apparently is the mid laner. This is Candy Panda. And the next guy, and the final, last but not least, is going to be Nif. There we go.
Look at that face. I like Nif.
He's like a cutie bear.
He is cute, and he's support.
Yeah, it's a dynamic duo of.
It is. Candy Panda Nif lane has been around for a long, long time on multiple different teams, with many different champions and meta games, and well, nothing can separate them from the seams of things.
Well, we'll see what they're up for today. I'm going to hand it over to our casters, Panky and Mattis. Yes?
Yes. Yep.
Yes! So good. It's a difficult British word. Anyway, you guys take it away.
It's a British word. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's British, though. I'm going to say.
We'll go with it. We're straight into our picks and bans. These guys know exactly what they wanted. No hanging about. Some similar champions to what we've seen already, though, today. Kassadin, Renekton, straight to out of the gate. Kassadin, that incredibly powerful AP carry. Can snowball very, very well. Can control the map nicely and assassinate those squishy AD carry targets towards the back of a fight. Renekton, immovable object. Shreds armors, magic resist, just becomes an all-round general nuisance. And those stuns can really turn the tides of fights or even engage in some situations.
Yeah, plus the fact that Renekton is one of Freddy's main characters.
Yep,
so again, it's a target ban, it's a very strong ban, and Elise. This is the 4th time I think we've seen Elise ban.
Yep, every game so far.
Yep.
We have not not seen a single Elise today because she's incredibly strong jungler, incredibly strong top laner, can be used in the mid lane a couple of times and was initially on release, but that's slowly faded a little way out of contention. But still, it's a potential, and it's just something they don't want to put up with.
Yeah. Plus the Gragas. So again, we saw what happens if you let a Gragas slip through last game. It's pretty destructive. Don't want to be touching that one. Going to eliminate that alongside the Shen.
Yeah, exactly. That's Shen, that non-stop split push power we mentioned there. We had from Tricked. Yes, they were against an AD comp, so Shen was even more powerful against them, but he's still pretty strong against multiple comps because of the split push power, because of the ultimate, because of the global pressure that he can apply, and with slightly different builds, he of course counters other people differently. Final ban is Lee Sin taken away from Svenska, and it is a big one for him. It is a big champion that he can play very, very well. We've seen him do him on multiple occasions, and I saw a stat the other day. It's something like the top 10 players in Challenger, I think it was like the top 6 of them were Lee Sin main junglers or something the other day. It was up on the US, there's a lot of Lee Sin junglers highly ranked on that Challenger circuit. He's a very, very powerful champion and can really control the pace. Okay, solo queue's a little bit different, the way controlling the pace of those games goes, but still, when you've got someone that's as good at doing it as Svenska, it's a sensible ban.
Yep, this is going to be Nidalee mid for Jez's. He is known for his awesome Nidalee play, runs at AP and just crushes, absolutely crushes. On the flip side though, Bro is a very aggressive jungler. He likes to pick characters that typically are going to be very gank-centric, and therefore I'm pretty sure that he is going to be very, very present. Plus the Lucian, first time we've seen this. In fact, no, sorry, the first game we also saw Lucian. And this is seeing a lot more play recently, as you said, from Korea.
Yeah, that strength you get in lane, the bullying you get, the strong, aggressive early damage. We saw it with an Annie support earlier on. That potential is still there, but because they couldn't pick it in the same round of selections, SK Gaming have a chance to take that away if they want to. Not so sure they will, but you also get, I mean, the culling, while I still can't get rid of the fact that it looks like it does no damage. It doesn't feel like to do any damage when you're running around spraying, there's bullets everywhere. But if you put that on a creep wave, it'll melt. If you put it on a squishy target and every shot does land, it does do a significant portion of the health bar. It just looks very slow the way it chunks it down. So it is still there, it's still a lot of damage, but its main strength comes from winning the lanes early, being very aggressive there, building a quick Trinity force and taking quick towers roaming around the map and pressuring in the mid game.
Well, it could potentially be, and indeed it will be, a Corki for the AD carry of Candy Panda. And we've seen more Corki played from him. Now, obviously, at one point, just a few weeks ago, before Triforce was altered and before Corki was altered, he was played pretty much all the time. He was a top-tier AD carry pick. And now, it's been a bit of a while since we've seen him.
Yeah, well, he receives a slight nerf, which is there on this patch. Then he got buffed up again a little bit more, as well as some changes on the 3.14 patch with the phosphorus bomb stuff. He's come back a bit more, and a few people play him in 3.14 just to get used to him, I think, more than anything. I don't think we're going to see him too strongly in competitive play. But it's interesting to see that Candy Pad's going to try and bring out here, because as we mentioned, it's on the slightly lower numbers. It's on the bottom end of the range abilities, which when you mentioned the bully power, the strength of Lucian is coming from some fairly long range abilities in his Q and his W. And then you've got to get pretty close to land your auto attacks and CS with Corki. When you're against an Annie who like you being that close, it's a pretty ballsy pick to come out from SK, but that's also to presume they're willing to put it in a 2v2 situation. They may be planning on a switch, they may be looking for those early wars to see where the 2v1 situation is going to be and putting their Corki in there with Lulu.
Wow. I hope the Rengar gets locked in. I love watching Rengar, and it is going to get locked in. So burst damage out of nowhere is going to be firing in. And this also now puts LowLandLions in an awkward position, because Rengar can be played in jungle and top, and so can Aatrox. So you don't really know what you're up against.
I suspect it's going to be Rengar top and Aatrox in the jungle. Just the initial going from Svenska and then his Aatrox, very powerful pet there. Seeing Freddy playing that Rengar is another common one for him, more so than the others. We do see a last-second switch from LowLandLions to grab that Kha'Zix to go up against it. So Kha'Zix who Rengar, we've got that quest going on. We've got that potential there, and just generic lore-based rivalry that comes out of those two. But as far as the actual matchup goes, since the changes, Kha'Zix fares a lot better than he used to. But the chances of getting isolate damage off in Rengar when he's leapt on you in the middle of a creep wave is very, very low. So Rengar should have some pretty strong trades with him in that top lane. And I'd like to see Bro perhaps appear a lot and make these 2v2, because that early damage from Shyvana will really help swing that lane against Freddy and into Morso's favour. But again, we've got to wait to see how level 1 fares, see where they put these 2v1s, where they put them 2v2 or 1v1s or whatnot. Or of course if they put someone into the mid lane like we saw in some of the earlier games, we saw Lucian and Annie in there. But ultimately, all the picks are through, and it's the first Annie of the day. Sorry, Ari of the day as well. She was banned out in the initial games. So I'm interested to see what I'm Heat managed to pull off with her.
Well, we didn't mention as well that Nif, who's been with SK Gaming, by the way, since June 2011. That's impressive for a League of Legends player to be that loyal for that long.
Exactly. That's a long, long time for someone to stick to one team.
Yeah.
We had a couple of other teams. I mean, MYM were famously as a 5 for a long, long time. But the fact that they're famous for doing that, it shows kind of credit to it. Players tend not to stick in one place for very long in this organisation. 6 months thereabouts is about the gist of it. So for Nif to have been there for well over 2 years.
It's impressive.
It's quite something.
But also, just to talk about the Lulu pick as well, I really like that against Annie Lucian, because Lulu is able to give shield, she's able to poke with Glitter Lance, plus the ultimate as well is going to keep alive the likes of Aatrox, who's going to be diving in, or if Rengar goes in with the Thrill of the Hunt, and then the Lulu Wild Growth on top of that, not only do you have loads of burst, but you have the disruption of it knocking everyone in the air as well.
Exactly. I mean, we've got the players in the game now. We're ready to jump in and have a look. But we also saw a similar look of that composition by TSM not so long back. They would run Rengar Zillion. So Rengar would stealth up, run straight into a team, leap on top of their opposition, blow them up and do as much damage as he can. But the whole while he's got bombs on his head, so he's in stealth and he's blowing people up without them even knowing he's there to begin with. That's no longer really the comp anymore. It doesn't really work very well. And even when TSM tried it, it wasn't the best thing in the world. But as you mentioned, it's the same kind of principle with that Lulu ultimate. In and amongst them, hidden, unseen, and then suddenly damage and a knock-up.
And there's quite a lot of squishy targets on LowLandLions. Ari's going to be pretty squishy, Annie's going to be very squishy, and Kha'Zix can build kind of tanky, but ultimately he's going to be quite squishy as well. So you've got a lot of potential for Rengar to go in ham and just completely nuke somebody.
Yeah, I mean, Shyvana will eventually become a fairly tanky object, fairly strong champion, but ultimately to begin with, she's still fairly low on the resistances, fairly low on the HP, so there's a lot of appealing targets there, and even later on, even when she is the only tanky target, she can only defend 1 or 2 people, so there's still plenty of opportunity for Freddy to really blow up one important priority target towards the back of the fight, so it's going to be very interesting to see how LowLandLions really have to play this, but just looking on comps alone, this is SK's game to lose. I much prefer their picks.
Yeah, plus, if you just look at raw experience, they are by far and away ahead of LowLandLions. That's no disrespect to LowLandLions. They're a good team, but SK Gaming have been there, done that, got the t-shirt multiple times. So in these kind of clutch situations, in front of a crowd as they are right now, in the Dream Arena, you've got to favour them to take away this game.
So we'll see. Svenskeren starting in his blue buff. He's going to head down towards that bottom lane eventually, which will mean he's going to help out in the 2v1 situation that they were expecting, but they're not going to get. 2v1 is in the mid lane. We're going to see Lowland. No? Okay, they're not going to go send their AD carry support mid. They were just very, very slow at running to the top lane. So immediately, Lucian and Annie on the back foot.
Yes, so this could put Lulu and Corky at a bit of an advantage here, honestly. They're going to be getting 2v4.
They're on a huge advantage, to be completely honest, because Aatrox is now helping zone Lucian and Annie out too. Corky's getting so much free farm and experience time here. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, that lane's lost now. Corky and Lulu is going to be way too strong for Annie and Lucian to do anything with.
And Morsu hits level 2 before Freddy goes all in with the Ignite. Even though he didn't get the kill, it still forced him back. So Freddy's kind of vulnerable.
So Candy Panda and Nif had to come in and help Svenskeren take this red buff away because of the fear of Brobro coming across. So as a result, Annie and Lucian have got a little bit of time to catch up, a little bit of experience. But they'd already lost a couple at the tower, and they lost a fair bit of CS to the tower too. So it's still on the back foot, but it's not quite as drastic as it was. But still, not the best of starts for LowLandLions.
But we say this so often, that Lucian Annie is all about the early game presence. And poking bot lane, Freddy's going back in. I should say Morsu's going back in on Freddy, forcing him back to the tower. But as we're talking about top lane, with Lucian and Annie being behind, Nif's only level 1 actually is going to take a lot of damage from Kylie's. They're going to be chasing onto this one. Visibility is getting pounded from Candy Panda, and that raw aggression is going to keep them at bay. They're not able to finish the kill off on Nif.
Yeah, like Nif was there with Aatrox to help zone them 2 out, so it was Candy Panda getting the experience in their levels, which as a result puts Nif in a little bit of danger. But he's got plenty of sustain, plenty of health, he should be coming back shortly. And now that Freddy's got this wave under the tower, tower, he will be able to too. And also his initial damage should start to be coming back into his health pot through those battle roars. In the mid lane, we saw a couple of ping notifications coming out from Iron Heat as he took a couple of spears to the face. Jezzy's was landing those consistently, but again, he's getting plenty of health back over general regen. He's had to go through quite a bit of mana though, so he's a little bit low there. Obviously using that spellbound. We just have flash stun coming out from Annie. Doesn't actually catch anyone. Candy Panda does get caught by the Incinerate afterwards, but he was more than safe away far enough from Brober and Lucian.
He did burn his barrier, but still has flash. Bot lane though, Freddy 122. I'm also going to be going hard on Morsu, who will be flashing away with the leap, I should say. And will be okay.
Away with the leap,
yeah.
Yeah, it does leap away. We saw Svenskeren was trying to delay his jump in and knock up to try and bait out that leap, but it didn't happen. We see Brober coming up right behind Nif. Nif still doesn't have his flash. Down he goes for first blood. Lucian picks it up, beautifully executed. And to be honest, SK were asleep a little bit. He walked through a ward to get there. There is that ward in that river bush. And well, the reactions from SK were quite slow.
Everyone loves an underdog, and LowLandLions have got first blood. And that's on top of the fact that they were in a really precarious position in that duo top, being zoned out so heavily. So that's completely turned it on its head. They're back now. They're very, very strong, and they're going to be difficult to deal with.
Yeah, we also had Corki basing when that happened too, to make sure he wasn't in there alone for a while. So he's going to lose a few creeps to the tower. Shouldn't be too many as they're already on their way back, but it's a great start for LowLandLions. We're going to grab an extra 400 gold, of course, on Lucian when he gets back to the fountain. Jez is slightly ahead in this mid lane, slightly bullying out Ahri and forced her to base recently too. So he's in a strong position, but mid lane Nidalee's not quite the hard carry you see from a lot of other mid lanes, not like the Gragas we saw in previous games. You can't 1v5 down teams or really turn fights on her own unless her team's willing to sit back and let her land all these long range pokes, which is not always possible, especially when you're up against a team that involves an Ahri or a Flash Tibbers or similar, because those charms that immediate dashes in and perhaps a charm that engages sometimes cannot be avoided. So unfortunately for Nidalee, there's nothing much she can do in that situation. But SK are a very experienced, very well-practiced team, I imagine. Even though it's in fact Iron Heat going in on Jezzy's, does use two charms as her ultimate. The third charm lands.
Wow.
Despite the flash from Jezzy's, I don't think he was expecting that. I wasn't expecting that kind of damage, to be completely honest. The first charge of Spirit Rush was used just for distance, didn't even need the damage from that. And well, didn't quite dodge the charm in time.
It comes down to that calculation again, knowing he had just about enough damage, and the cleanse and flash were both used from Jesus as well. So he's coming back to the lane, not just a kill behind, but with no summoners.
We do see Svenskeren, in fact, though, did go in on Iron Heat, forced a flash. He did land the slow, and there with that last auto attack picks up the kill. He's still got passive, but he's not got much health. We do see Shyvana chasing him back down that middle lane. But ultimately, he's out and safe and has the cooldown up for his leap again now if he needs to go away. We do see a trade in the top lane. We do see Aatrox Lucian fighting Candy Panda straight up, but the Ignite's down onto Nif. And with that last stun that came out from Annie, it's a second kill for this LowLandLions top lane.
Absolutely decimating. It didn't go to Lucian, which would have been ideal, but still, it's a kill. And that leaves Candy Panda in a really bad position. He's going to have to go back to his tower or face potential death, especially with those kind of hit points. This is allowing Shyvana to just kind of mingle around the opposition jungle. Doesn't have to think about going in for those ganks right now. His team's doing all the work for it.
Maybe a little bit dangerous though, as he goes into the enemy jungle with both Svenskeren and Freddy coming to try and deal with him. He does put a little bit of damage down onto Jezzy's and then has to leave. But it does mean Svenskeren picks up his red buff relatively uncontested. In fact, Shyvana's coming back in, tries to flash, does get the flash smite off. Flash smite, thanks to that ward, takes it away. Maybe a bit overkill, blowing the flash just to take that red buff off. But, I mean, Svenskeren's already level 7. He's already got that extra kill, so going to try and knock him back as much as possible, but at the cost of a flash may have been a bit too much.
Maybe. I think perhaps his thought process was, I've got Dragon's Descent. So if I'm in a really bad position, I can still get away from that. But I agree, the Summoner spell would have been maybe more valuable. I'm not too sure if SK Gaming will say, okay, Shyvana doesn't have the flash. In fact, all that thought was at top lane. You could have Annie falling down. In fact, could be able to survive. Here comes Candy Panda, and he will pick up that kill for SK Gaming.
Nice flash forward, Valkyrie backwards, make sure he had enough. We do have Ahri roaming up top lane, but again, she walked through ward, she got spotted, good communication by SK, they saw that she was coming, they pinged that she was coming, and they had Svenskeren's Aatrox nearby as well in case she made her way in through that blue buff to dive behind the turret. Onto the no flash, no barrier, no Valkyrie Corki, so good communication by them and a good, quick, concise kill. But still, very strong Lucian at the moment, 1-0-1 thanks to his initial kills. He has hit 6 again a long time before Corki, but without the support in that top lane with him, he's got to go a little bit careful for a while, and as a result, backed, shopped, and bought himself a quick fade. Freddy is very pushed up here in the bottom lane, takes a turret shot, 2 turret shots, maybe in the Deathborn here as Brocho's coming in with that red buff, with that burnout. Freddy does pop his ult, but there's a pink pop put down by Bro. And with a quick Dragon's Descent and Taste Their Fear combo, Kha'Zix picks up the kill. SK letting a lot of kills go here that I really didn't expect to see happening.
Not only did they get the kill, Freddy no longer has his ultimate or flash. So that was huge for LowLandLions. That's going to give them so much more presence at bot lane. And I wouldn't be too surprised if in the next few moments they try a dragon, the next minute or two, because they have the advantages now.
Honestly, the way SK are playing and the way these kills are being given up, these players are better than that. We've seen them all play much better than that. I don't think they're really respecting LowLandLions as much as they should be. We've seen time and time again from team after team, you need to respect your opponents, no matter how bad you may think they are or how outskilled you think you play them. SK aren't right now, and as a result, they're paying the price for it in kills all over the map. Now, it's a little bit different. LowLandLions, yes, they are 2 kills up, but they are only about 1,000 gold up. A lot of other teams perhaps would have been giving away these kills, picking them up and pushing home their advantage a bit more, grabbing the towers, grabbing the dragons. In fact, they're not getting as much out of it as some other more experienced teams might have. But if SK keep doing it, then it's going to mount up and become too much.
That's a quote. You can only beat what's in front of you. And that's the case of SK right now. You might think that you're a couple pegs higher than LowLandLions, but as it stands, you're behind. They are besting you. It's 2-4. You're behind by nearly 1,000 gold. The stats do not lie. So LowLandLions, they're going to continue to push top lane. They're getting stronger. The question is, though, do they have that killer instinct, Panky? Are they going to go for the jugular, or are they going to let this subside and slip away? Because a lot of teams do that.
Looking at Bro, hovering around the bottom of that blue buff, we do see Candy Planner trying to recall. Is he actually going to complete it? If he is going to complete it. This is terrible for poor Lulu if she hangs around. We both have Ari and Shyvana roaming up towards this top lane. Ari has to leave, and probably rightly so, can go back to that mid lane without too much, but, well, Lulu suspected something. Nif backs on away from that top lane. Svenska and those down in the bottom there, trying to bait more so forward. He gets snared up, the leap in for the knockup. He does go into stealth briefly, but there's so much damage that as soon as he pops out the other side of it, kill to Rengar. I'm Heat. Wow, big spear in that mid lane. Jesus isn't finished. He's looking to finish him off. Can't quite land that last spear. And the top lane turret, while that's all going on, because of the base from Candy Panda, that will fall down to LowLandLions.
Yeah, it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade though on towers, because Freddy 122 and Svenskeren will push bot, with Kha'Zix Morsu being dead, and they may actually look to push this second tower as well, because no one's really that close. Ari's coming back down again, but Freddy 122, I mean, Rengar's a very, very fast tower clearer because of the Q, because of the ferocity stacks as well. So a couple of recalls have been cancelled there from SK Gaming, and they're looking to take down the second tower. They've chunked it down significantly as well, just over 1,000 hit points.
Yeah, I mean, their new Bro was in the top half of the map. He showed himself up there briefly so they could keep that push going. He's now making his way back across in that direction, and Ari came across to help out too, so they have had to back away. But getting that damage down onto that turret gives them more of an advantage than you think. Just because it's not dead doesn't mean it wasn't a successful push. Putting it down to that half health means that when they do want to swing around and pick that up, they can do it quickly and easily. It's not a case of, oh, we can't kill it this time, we might as well not touch it. Do what you can at that point and leave when you're forced to leave. Because if worst case scenario, they don't come force you to leave, you get over your turret.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that tower being so low, that could also have presence on Dragon. When Dragon comes up, if that tower's down, you get pushed to your inhib tower. Therefore, you don't have as much presence around Dragon. That's another free objective potentially on the cards for SK Gaming. But that is still to be seen. Dragon hasn't even been attempted thus far in this game. Only 500 gold difference at 13 minutes. It's so close.
I think they may have heard you. Well, they haven't. They've got properly tested. But the fact of the matter is, as you said, they haven't tried for Dragon yet. They go down and try for Dragon. Yeah. SK Gaming were already on their way there at that point. We saw them all converging down. We even brought down Candy Pan and Nif from that top lane because, of course, with the tower gone, they have the time without risking their tier 2. And, well, because Morso's in the top lane, there's nothing that LowLandLions can do about it. And SK put themselves back in the gold lead by picking up a quick, easy Dragon kill.
Yep, so that is going to be the objective falling. But look at the gold. 100 in it. Absolutely neck and neck. Candy Pan is going to get some free farm at bot lane, getting up to level 8. Let's have a quick look at the differential in items, as Jazz is going to be trying to protect away his blue buff from Morsu here. Going to be firing out the javelin, does a lot of damage to Iron Heat. It's not quite enough just yet, though, to be one-shotting or two-shotting people, but still it's significant damage.
It is. I mean, I'd have liked to save it, perhaps used it on the blue buff instead. He knew that's the direction he was going. Perhaps a blind spear into the boot could have taken it. But, I mean, he's taking down Ari a little bit low. He's making himself a nuisance. If he can land another spear, he's in the execute range. So I think he can leap on top of him immediately and burst him down. But at the moment, Ari's kind of been left to go as and what and where she likes. And, yes, she's a little bit behind in farm because of it, but she's got that extra kill to help the gold count even out.
Yeah, so with Dragon being down, Svenskeren's actually being chased out here, forced to flash away, and will be dark flighting. Does manage to live to fight for another day. Nice mechanical play coming out from Svenskeren.
I can't tell if Ari didn't know he'd gone in that direction or not, but she kept running down towards the tri-bush instead of following him into the dragon pit for a bit longer there. But I don't know. Either way, it was a good escape by Svenskeren. Yeah, unlucky for Ari. The charm did not quite land, and he was able to flash on out of there, but it's potentially dangerous for him. Again, trying these interesting things and getting out of there with his life, but now having used that flash up means he's a little bit more exposed than normal and can't be quite so aggressive for a while.
Yeah, top lane, Morsu and Freddy122 just going at it. Morsu is definitely coming out second best in this engage though, so he needs to be careful. He is quite close to level 11. And with that blue buff's going to be able to spam away, jumping back in to get the last hits. But I don't think too much is going to kick off there. Also has to be super careful, because if he gets away from his tower, Rengar does have the capabilities of just taking him out.
Yeah, under tower, he should be fine. He's got enough burst with conjunction the tower and the stealth that he should be able to fight off the Rengar assault. But as soon as he stresses out, he's in danger. SK though, immediate rotate round brings Svenskeren and Nif in. Only Annie left there to try and defend that mid turret, and she cannot do anything about it. So down the tower goes. Quick 1,000 gold for them, stretching their lead out now. They've buckled down a little bit. They've started to realize, okay, didn't need to be giving up these kills. These are silly fights that we shouldn't have been taking. Time to buckle down and start taking the game back our way. So they all grouped up, went down for the dragon before LowLandLions could really react. They took down that mid turret before LowLandLions could react. But Brober has found Svenskeren in the top tri-bush. He's popped his passive. Morso comes in and immediately deletes him as soon as the passive has finished recharging. And Brober is there with Rengar to finish her off too. Down go for her. Finish off Freddy122. Visiality taking a lot of damage from this bottom tower. Flash forward from Candypan. Immediate flash away from the phosphorus bomb by Visiality. LowLandLions bottom lane is incredibly low, but they're being chased down by Candypan, firing rockets off at a distance, but he's not quite got the range.
Yep, doing a lot of damage in the process, forcing Visality and Kiala's away from the bot. It's going to give Candypan some more free farm, and he's going to be good to go. Meanwhile, in mid, Jez's and I'm Heat throwing out the javelins, but not going to be landing, just getting some more CS. So, a few more kills getting exchanged between the two, but no objectives. It's like the slow, steady approach. Yeah,
it is. These kills that they're getting, the fights that they're getting, aren't quite there to open up objectives. You look at the 2 kills they got in the top lane, LowLandLions got in the top lane, there's no turret there left for them to get. It's way too early for them to get the Baron. Blue buff was already gone, so it was just kills, simple as that. Bottom lane, we'd seen them fighting a little bit under the turret, and they could have got that bottom turret if they'd have got the kills, but they didn't. SK managed to find them off nicely. LowLandLions took way too many turret shots, could have been avoided, had to back away themselves, so there's no turret for SK to get this time around. So little trades back and forth, people looking for that opening, but as of yet, the opening's not quite there.
No, it's certainly not. And Dragon's going to be up in 2 minutes, so that could be the next time that we see the clash of the Titans in this matchup. Jez is getting some more farm. Let's have a quick look at some of these items. Reach a lull. Components of Triforce for Lucian, but Corki, Candy Panda has managed to pick his up. So in terms of raw damage output, you've got to be favouring Corki for those 1v1, 2v2 situations.
To see a big rotation from SK now back towards that middle lane. Heat a little bit exposed on his own at the moment, but he does back up because of course he's got no turret to hide behind. Spear comes out, slams into Kialis, takes her down to below half health. Thanks directed camera for jumping away just before the spear landed.
Well, trust us, it hurt.
Yeah, so you can see in the corner of the screen next to above the minimap, very, very low health on Annie. But a nice shot from Jez's, and this is the power of wards that SK is going to have. With those wards placed, with Jez's exposed, he's forced to flash away from the charm from Ari. In fact, Morsu really looking to go deep under this turret. He doesn't quite have the damage thanks to that last heal, but the ignite was ticking. Not quite enough to finish her off though. Morsu looking with Brober to try and finish Svenskeren off under this turret. They no quite sustain too much. Bro does pick up the kill, but with the last turret shot following over the wall, he has to run away with his tail between his legs, gets his life out of there nonetheless. Kialis comes back after healing with that stun up, so Freddy and Nif have to back away from Morso's push in the mid lane, but with Candy Panda coming across from mid, Freddy's ready to go in.
Yeah, Kylie's taking so much damage. Tibbers comes down, it's not going to save his life, but Lulu picked up the kill, so not all bad news for LowLandLions. I guess if someone's going to pick up a kill, you'd rather it be the support, but I'm still a bit shell-shocked. How in the good Lord did Bro not die?
Got up there just between turret shots, and there was no burn on him, there's nothing else following him through. And well, because of where that flash was, because of the way the game works, of course, he got through the wall and further than a normal flash, and was plenty of distance between him and SK. Again, yes, okay, the kill went to Lulu, not ideal, but here's the thing, if they got that kill and an objective,
yeah,
great. They didn't, they just got that kill, so all you got from that fight was a kill, and it went to your support, not an ideal target. So if all you're getting from these things is kills, then you need it to be on one of those important targets. Jez is trying to spear away the blue. Nicely done, and that ward just around the corner. The Drake is back up now. This time LowLandLions are reacting. Now they find out where that ward is after placing a pink. But with Annie coming down without a stun, there is the stun up now, they need to be a little bit careful of SK. They are a little bit out of position. SK are controlling this movement, and when SK are controlling the movement, these spears are going to be coming out of nowhere and destroying lumps off of LowLandLions' health bars. So they need to be very, very careful of where Jez is and which way they're going. Now they know SK are looking for this Drake, they know they're around that area. Do force a dash out of visiality to dodge that spear. Next one hits the creep. They're dodging off to the side of that mid lane. They've pulled SK away from the Drake here by forcing them towards this middle turret, but still, there's so much wave clear and so much poke between both of these teams that they kind of need to keep their distance. SK are now back to putting the pressure onto LowLandLions.
Yeah, and with the Oracles, Nif is doing work clearing out the ward. On the flip side, Kialis is yet to pick up an Oracles. So, as you said before, wards are power, and SK Gaming are way ahead in that role. So, if Jezis can continually land these javelins, look for SK to transition into the free dragon. In fact, they may just go for it anyway. They're going to be starting off the dragon after clearing this ward away. Here come LowLandLions, so they've got the Dragon's Descent up. Bro's taking a bit of harassment right now. Are they going to be going in? Will he try and Dragon's Descent smite this one away? Any second now, all hell will break loose. In fact, Morsu is forced to back away after taking a lot of poke damage, and this is going to allow SK Gaming to pick up a free objective just from the poke damage. Oh, I thought Kialis was about to go down. That was so close.
So that was a spear kill.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. LowLandLions, they went, oh, okay, finally, they've started the Drake, we've got to go at them, we've got to run at them. And as a result, they just took spear after spear and rocket after rocket. And so, oh, we got there. We've got half of our health missing on everyone. We can't take this fight. And here we go. Bottom turret already down to half health means that a quick rotate from SK picks himself up another kill. So they're now up to 2,000 gold lead after grabbing the tower and the dragon. And now they can rotate back again because they had to drag LowLandLions to the bottom lane. And Rengar has already been pushing this tier 2 turret in mid. So that's got a lot of creeps waiting underneath it now. And there's not many members of LowLandLions there to defend it. Morso had also gone up in towards the top lane. That was a big misplay by LowLandLions. And another huge spear forces Annie into a tough position. Svenskfjäring does get taunted up this time, but he's got his passive, so it's not so dangerous. And we do see, yes, Morso leaps over. Doesn't do much damage to Freddy because he's very tanky and he's not isolated. And suddenly, LowLandLions runs, yeah, we've got the in. Oh, no one's got any health. No one can follow this up. And SK now using the siege power, using that heal from Nidal Legion, the poke from Nidal Legion, the blue buff that she's wearing, and the general damage output they have to really put the pressure on LowLandLions, who need to stop taking so much damage from these spears.
Yeah, there is so much poke right now. Another javelin comes across. This is trying to buy some time for the duo lane to get back into mid. And it looks like they've managed to do that as SK Gaming will back away. But for me, this is the main difference between the very top teams and the teams that are hoping to get there one day. LowLandLions had an advantage early game, and they did nothing with it, whereas SK Gaming are starting to absolutely obliterate with these javelins. How can you actually siege a team when one javelin landing takes 3/4 of your hit points away?
Yeah, this Nidalee is incredibly powerful. You mentioned why it was one of Jez's big champions.
Yeah.
And well, I'm feeling the full force of it in his face. Jez is back to pushing mid. Kialis is here trying to defend that push, and well, we've already seen what happens when Kialis takes a spear to the face. He's picked up on Oracles now, but it's still in his inventory for the moment. He's not ready to pop it and actually go cleaning yet. We did see one earlier come out from Nif because, of course, he picked up that extra kill. So when you grab a kill as a support at the moment, quick Oracles start grabbing some ward control. He's also had a replacement one in his bag ready for when that ran out. He's now drunk that. But we're looking at Broso more so trying to take down Freddy. Freddy has run in the opposite direction to try and save his own life. ran straight past the pink ward that was put down. He was already long far away from that. Did get spotted as he went around that corner from the turret, but he's now still on the run from the enclosing members of Lowland Lions.
It doesn't look too good for him right now, and he's already used the thrill of the hunt. So here comes the Dragons Descended up. Robro going to be chasing this one down. Do they have the damage? He's way behind enemy lines. It's a question of when, not if he will fall. Here comes Ari from the side. I'm looking to try and secure this kill, but in the meanwhile, actually, Kha'Zix is going to pick up the kill on Lulu, while Bro takes Rengar. So SK Gaming, they've just lost 2 players without any retaliation.
That was very nice from Lowland Lions, so where they caught out the supporting members of SK as they went across to try and help out Freddy, who was in a horrible position. We also just saw Svenskam trying to go in on Visiality, trying to solo him down while he knew the rest of Lowland Lions were on other parts of the map, and he couldn't do it. Lucian got away from there. Lucian put too much distance between them. Candy Panda was also in the bottom lane for that entire duration, so now Lowland Lions, while they picked up those 2 kills, they also had SK off in weird positions and managed to pick up a turret from this one. So this time around, they did get an objective from those kills, and as a result, have completely leveled out the gold count.
They have, so it just goes to show you should never disrespect your enemies. You should never count them out. Always keep them close. And right now, this is about as close as it gets. As you can see right now, goal difference, literally even. 2 to 3 towers, 9 to 4 on kills. I have to feel it's going to come down to experience now, because the slightest mistake can be the difference between a Baron or Dragon or even an inhib tower going down.
We've seen this time and time again. New teams, the LCS, challenger teams, teams that don't know how to close out games. Now, admittedly, Lowland Lions aren't as far ahead as some of those teams. This is still very even. But yes, once you get to the 35, 40, 50-minute games that not everyone can practice, you don't scrim that long that often, that's when the teams like SK that have been playing for this long in those situations regularly start to shine against these lower challenger squads, these lower placed teams. So we'll see whether Lowland Lions can really hold their own in that situation, especially as these spears are just going to get stronger and stronger and start doing more and more damage as the game goes on. We do see Lowland Lions zoned away and off from their turret at the moment as these spears are flying through the walls, but the turret's still got about a half of his health on it. I was ready for that one to hit Jezzy's in the face. We do see Candy Panda just whittling away the turret every time these spears fly past, and wow, I Am Heat's health. More so, not so worried about it, but he's a lot tankier than I Am Heat, who is recalling on the edge of their base because that damage takes him down to about 200. Does Home Guard back out, but more so taking another poke to the face. Now he's got to go back to the base, and he doesn't even have boots to Home Guard with.
Exactly, so plus the fact, as you said before, that with Nidalee's heal, Candy Panda can afford to tank the tower a bit and just take the tower shots, take it down slowly but surely. They've got the second inner tower now through the mid, and they're looking to transition down. Drake's up in 40 seconds. Can they keep Lowland Lions away? Because SK have had a very solid game, but they've tended to get caught out a couple times needlessly, and I guess that might be Lowland Lions' mentality, just like wait for SK to make the mistakes.
That's all very well, but SK aren't the kind of team that are going to regularly make that many mistakes.
Yeah.
Wow, that damage on Visiality. He had also just trodden a trap, so his magic resistant armor had been debuffed as well, so that's stronger still. The thing here is SK are going to be happy to sit here and siege a turret down once every 5 minutes, every now and again, just throwing spears down, waiting for it. Lowland Lions have the team that needs to jump in, needs to initiate, need to get that charm, need to get that flash tibbers, need to get a Dragon's Descent and do something, but they just seem a bit too scared for it at the moment. It is going to be very hard for them to catch that SK lineup, leap away from Svenskam, the stealth away from Freddy, leap away from Jezzy's, Valkyrie away from Candy Panda, Nith. Okay, you can blow off Nith, that's not the end of the world, but he's got a very powerful slow and the knockup from his ultimate as well, so just trying to nuke him down is a bit of a challenge. And so as a result, they're waiting for this perfect opportunity to try and land that one engage that will win them an ace and give them a fight. That opportunity, that perfect moment's not going to come. You need to put some pressure on SK, you need to force the mistakes out of them, instead of just sitting back and letting them force mistakes out of you.
Exactly, and of course, if you do sit back and wait for mistakes, that's where Nidalee really shines. Because that just says, okay, cool, it's open season, just throw as many javelins as you like. If one of them catches on Annie or Ari, then you can go ahead and take our inhib tower and there's nothing we can do. So I like that Lowland Lions are playing a bit more aggressive now. I like that they're taking the oracles, they're cleaning these wards out and trying to catch SK Gaming out of position. Whether they'll try, oh my goodness.
Dings.
It's actually making me physically wince to see that much damage coming down.
Is it too early to make a lost profits joke?
Oh no, you didn't. That's going to be lost on so many people, but for the people that know what you're talking about, that is brutal.
Let's see, we see more so a little bit exposed in the top lane. Does take a spear in his backside, but Nif Aatrox and Jezzy's are up here, so they take themselves a tier 1 turret in the top lane with ease. Brobo around the corner now, fighting for his golems here with Svenskeren. Has to let them go as Morso takes another spear in the behind. So Brobo has to go and deal with that tier 2 turret. The rest of LowLandLions are coming around to try and help. Lucian, though, is still down in that bottom lane, and as a result, they may have to sacrifice this turret a little bit earlier than scheduled. But there it is. There's that charm goes out, and immediately SK pop all these abilities that just dash away from it and don't have to worry about it at all. And as a result, LowLandLions now can't follow it up. They can't go on the engage, and as a result, SK are just sitting here waiting for another wave of creeps to start landing turret damage. Candy Panda has been tanking the turret in a lot of these situations before the creeps arrived, but there's nothing. There's what I wanted. Flash Tibbers comes out from LowLandLions. It doesn't quite land on the perfect target, but a flash over the wall from Corki keeps him alive. Iron Heat's incredibly low. SK are kiting them back. Svenskeren does go down into his passive, but it's a passive not dead. LowLandLions have lost 3 members, only Morso and Visiality left alive. Spear in the backside of Visiality doing a lot of damage, but Morso's looking to pick some low health members off. Down goes Jezzy's, but has he got the resets? Can he chase any further? No, he's got eyes on his head. The stealth isn't going to work. He hasn't got the leaps or the mana, and SK still have 4 members left alive. They get the turret after all that fighting. They do get 3 extra kills, and they're willing to back away and fight another day.
So they tried the engage that you were so longing for, but just the amount of damage was insane from SK Gaming, and they turned it around instantly. They've picked up all the outer towers now, Panky. So again, it's that claustrophobic environment whereby they have to stay in their own base, and this is just going to allow Nidalee to become even more prevalent. Rabadon's Death Cap, Athene's Unholy Grail is going to be crushing through at 30 minutes.
So we do see LowLandLions are respawning, making their way back out of their base, starting to regroup, take a deep breath, think, okay, didn't go to plan, wasn't ideal. They're not going to know the exact numbers, but they are only 4,000 gold down. That's not the end of the world. They did lose that tier 2 turret top, but they made a play for it. That's what I've been waiting for this entire time. They tried to go with that Flash Tibber stun. They tried to take the fight to SK. Wasn't ideal, but they've got an idea of it now. They know what to expect from SK. They know how they're going to fight these fights, and maybe they can adapt themselves and play a little bit differently to go with it. Also, on top of that, SK had to blow a lot of flashes to get away from that. A flash went down from Corki, a flash went down from Rengar, so those are going to be gone. So if LowLandLions can use that and use that knowledge and abuse that knowledge, they can really try it again and make something happen. There's that culling going down onto the bottom lane onto Corki. Still doesn't do too much, but, I mean, Lucian's been trying for that turret for quite some time.
Yeah, and they have picked up 2 towers, but having a quick look at LowLandLions, you know, the kills are pretty nice on their team. You've got Kha'Zix, who's huge, 4-1. Shyvana's 3-1, so it's very tanky. He's doing quite a bit of damage. And Lucian and Nari aren't exactly doing bad, so they do have the capabilities to claw this game back. They're only 4.3k behind, even though they find themselves in a 4-tower deficit. So if they can get that perfect ult down, here actually they're going to be jumping on Candy Panda. Look at the burst damage as he will be falling to Morsu. So quick, actually, that Lucian wasn't even able to get an assist. Here comes Freddy122 trying to even up, answer the call of his fallen comrade, but that's not going to be the case, and now he's put himself in a pretty sticky situation, caught between a rock and a hard place with this tower very, very low. They're going to be trying to get this kill. He's trying his best to clear these creeps, but now it's on in this 1 versus 2. Freddy122 is going to be falling with the culling. There we go. And LowLandLions claim another kill and a tower on top of it.
This is what we needed from LowLandLions. This is what I've been waiting for. They had SK rounding them up, and they had the rest of them that were just doing little bits and poking and spearing, but they took Morso aside. They had Lucian in the bottom lane. They knew Corki was on his own, and they used that assassin. They used Kha'Zix. They took the fight to him. As a result, Freddy had to come down, and Freddy had to try and defend the turret, but with no creeps there, he was in a little bit of a dangerous situation. He didn't have the burst to go straight through Lucian, and Visiality played it very, very well, tightening him around, baiting him in towards, bringing him in a position that Morso could come on through. They then nuked down the turret and then jumped on Freddy, and they're taking the objectives and they're taking the game to SK. This is what we needed from LowLandLions, and this could turn it for him.
I'm glad they didn't wait too long, because there was a pretty long period in the game, and in fact, they're going to be going now, as Kylie's has been caught out from both Jezzy's and Svenskeren. He is a dead man with this Oracles. So trying to clear out the walls, trying to get some map presence, and in doing so plays himself 6 foot under for the next 33 seconds. So this could be the moment where SK Gaming may actually try and pick up a Baron. I'm not too sure if they're going to go that aggressive for it though, because LowLandLions is still pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, this is that patch. This is Faker's famous words of, well, not words, but famous playstyle. You find a support and you just blow them up, nuke them down. And unfortunately for Jez's, this situation, it was not Jez's. Unfortunately for Kialis, it was him in this situation. He was going around with that Aura because he was warding, making sure they had the Baron vision. Wouldn't put it against a team like SK. They've got good damage to nuke that target down, especially with the big heal and attack speed buff that comes from Nidalee. So they needed to make sure there was vision on there. Unfortunately for him, he was caught out by 3 members of SK that had a lot of crowd control and were able to nuke him and lock him up and nuke him down. As a result, they don't have the vision on this dragon, they don't have control over that, and SK, while they're giving it a go, Morso is near, he's just completely missed it.
Just walked straight past.
The vision was not quite right, his pathing was heading off in the wrong direction and didn't see that dragon happening at all. So another free dragon for SK Gaming, a little bit unfortunate, but as is the way the game works when they're hiding in that pen. But as a result, those 2 members are down on the bottom half of the map. The rest of LowLandLions are in the top half with a 4-man, and I'd like to see them try... No, it's a bit mate. I'd like to see them try and jump on Lulu, but they've left it a little bit too late with Rengar and Aatrox rotating back up. But we do get some good harass damage down onto Nif. They're looking for it, and in fact, they might grab Svenskar in here. He leaps right in. He's got passive, but it will get dropped before anyone on LowLandLions is down. Kha'Zix now coming back across from that bottom lane. Freddy is incredibly low, and the Ignite is ticking. Freddy will drop down. LowLandLions got the numbers advantage. They've got that assassin in more so. And providing they don't catch too many spears as they siege this turret, they could really push this home and take it to SK. More so's around the backside. Candy Panda's lacking mana, and in fact, going away from this turret is the worst thing SK could do, allowing Morso to get around behind them. And if the re-engage comes here from LowLandLions, this could be great for them. Flash stun comes onto Candy Panda. There's the re-engage. There comes Morso from behind. Nice Valkyrie from Candy Panda. But LowLandLions are still looking like they're going to grab this tower.
Yep, LowLandLions, however, are actually pretty low, so they're forced to back away right now. Nif taking point, takes a bit of damage from Vitality, but that's all she wrote. And LowLandLions will be going back. But they did pick up a few kills. They're tapping SK Gaming on the shoulder. They're saying, we're still in this game, you know. If you, even for a split second, underestimate us, we will punish you for those mistakes. And this is what I love to see. LowLandLions just coming out, no fear, in front of a crowd, and just playing their hearts out. Who would have thought that SK Gaming would be in the closest game we've had all day?
Yeah, we do see Nif now with that Oracle's back up, in and around the Baron pen, cleaning out, taking away what vision the LowLandLions might have. LowLandLions all healed up, back out on the base now. The gold count still within 2,000. This is incredibly close. So we approach the 35-minute mark. I mentioned earlier on, that's around your average game time, 35 minutes. So, let's see where they take it from here. Jez has got that Void Staff on top of the Death Cap and Thean's Unholy Grail now. That's going to really tear through people. Still no Aegis of the Legion up on LowLandLions. It's not as strong as it was before, especially against Magic Resist, but it'd still be very, very useful. But as a result, the vision game is more important here for LowLandLions. And because Annie's spending so much money on those wards, hasn't got that Aegis under her belt, and no one else on LowLandLions really in a position to buy it either. But SK now, without the passive on Svenskar, making a big push for this middle tier 3 tower.
And this is where SK Gaming's comp is at its strongest. In these sieges, actually, I mean, he goes in, does a lot of damage to Lulu, but eats a Javelin for his troubles. Another Javelin flies in, not quite landing on Annie. But they did enough damage to maybe put SK in a position of thinking, okay, maybe we don't want to go in. Kylie's takes so much, standing on top of the trap and the Javelin to 186 hit points for nearly 2,000. Now Vitality turn to get crushed from Javelin. And they have to back away, and in doing so, they're leaving this tower pretty much so vulnerable. Another Javelin lands onto Ari this time, and now Brobro's going in on a 1 versus 4. He's ballsy, he's manly. I'm not too sure it's going to pay off, though. He has to back away as Nidalee picks up that kill.
Do we get another spear landing onto Ori, another spear landing onto Lucian? Every one of these is finding its mark now onto Kialis. He gets the tip of that, but he's down anyway. Every spear that Jez is firing is landing. Morso is in the bottom lane trying to fight Freddy 1-2-2, but he's going to get under that turret and get to safety. SK do get this bottom inhib. Morso gets Freddy, but can he get the inhib before SK base? If he can, then that's not so disastrous for LowLandLions. It's a great push by him, a great split push, and well handled of Freddy. He will get the inhib, and arguably a bottom inhib a little bit better than a middle inhib. So if we're looking now, we look for a Baron fight, so to speak. We see LowLandLions pushing up that middle lane. They're going to be pushing against the creeps. They can rotate wherever they want from that way onwards, but they're clearing the super creeps as they go. They've got big creeps pushing on the bottom lane with them. If SK want to send someone to deal with those super creeps in that bottom lane, that's as far away from the rest of the map as anyone they send can go. So that opens up a 4v5 possibility anywhere else on the map for LowLandLions. It is a great push for them, and it is a brilliant push from Morso.
Yeah, great timing call there. And as you say, I mean, there's no teleports on either side. So if they do go for a Baron with someone going to cover the super minions at bot lane, that is a very stacked situation in LowLandLions' favor, especially with the fact that if he can Spirit Rush in and land a Charm, that's pretty much going to be an insta-kill for whoever wants it on LowLandLions. They also have Kha'Zix, so if a Charm lands, you've got the Assassin of Ahri, Assassin of Kha'Zix on top of that, and even characters like Aatrox are going to get popped very, very quickly in those exchanges, so it's definitely one to watch out for.
So, LowLandLions back now to pushing onto that mid lane. You've got to clear out as many waves as possible as the super creeps start heading their way, but SK are here too. Svenskeren now has a Banshee's Veil up, so landing those charms on him is going to be a damn sight harder than it was before. But Candy Panda's still been the target of opportunity for a lot of flash Tibber stuns coming out of Annie. And again, yeah, that's the way to do it. He's been aggressive, he's been tanking a lot of turret shots because of the heal from Nidalee. He's been putting on what tower damage they can, but as a result, he's been exposing himself to these stuns and to these engages. He's been able to survive it afterwards with Valkyries and flashes and barriers, but it's going to come to a point where LowLandLions have the damage to nuke him down in the space of that stun. Standing on a wood spear, just about skimming past Ahri, probably down to eight tails now, I think. Good to see. Corki rotating up towards the top lane, pushing that one out, while 5 members of LowLandLions push against the remaining 4 members of SK. That's got a sting.
Right in the fields.
Corki really making some... Are you going to keep stopping? No. So we're going to see Candy Panda stopping to recall now as the rest of his team call for support in this middle lane. Jess is off to one side throwing spears out from the Wraith camp, but there's a massive wave of creeps now in that bottom lane heading towards SK's base. LowLandLions though with a low health Kialis, it's about 4.5, 4 1/3 against 5, so they cannot keep that push going now that Candy Panda's left the top lane. They do have to back up, but they're using the pressure, they're using the fact that they push SK away from the middle half of the map to go use that Oracles and to clean out the Baron River and Baron Bush of wards. In fact, they're going to straight up engage it. That's a bit ballsy. There's still a ward there that they hadn't cleared, and he hadn't made the full round, and SK are closing in. They saw Corki in the bottom lane, but these spears are taking LowLandLions so low.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to do so. Here comes Freddy from the side, trying to get this one down onto Vitality. Instantly, Tibbers comes in. It's going to be Shyvana picking up the Baron, but how much damage is going to come off the back of this? Svenskeren will go on to Annie, picks that one up. Blood, well, has been popped though, so Svenskeren comes back into that fight to see his teammates falling thick and fast. Finally, Candy Panda gets himself in. Double kill, both for Kha'Zix and also Aatrox. Now, Bro's in a 1 versus 2. He forces the flash from Candy Panda. Svenskeren's Bloodwell is no longer available. Here comes Mosu to get his triple kill. They get the Baron and a 4 for 3 trade.
He's looking for Corki. He's gone in the wrong direction. He can't find him. But, I mean, I said wrong direction. You can't find it. But still the right direction. If he'd found Corki on that route, fine. But he has to get over here and he has to deal with these super creeps that are on the Nexus turrets. Beautiful fight from LowLandLions. I wasn't sure if they had the damage to do that Baron, but they did. They got through it very, very quickly. A very nice smite from Bro despite Svenskeren leaping in there and being as annoying as possible. And despite the spears that were landing, Annie and Ahri positioned themselves in great positions at the back of the pen. The SK couldn't get their damage onto them, couldn't do that last little bit of health that they had, and they got their full combos out, they got their full damage out beforehand. And Freddy122 has built so tanky at the moment, he can't get through Lucian. He's leaping on him, he's doing what he can, but a quick dash away, and Lucian's able to kite him back using the move speed buff from his W as well. He's just playing with Freddy, toying him back, and Morsu the entire time is tearing Freddy apart.
Yeah, and also in that fight, you saw the Tibbers coming down just on Freddy122, which normally is not the ideal situation, but it stopped Lucian from dying. And that's the reason why. You want to protect your AD carry, allow the AD carry to go back in the fight and do as much damage as possible. So really nice play from Annie there. Kylie's has been having a phenomenal game thus far and keeping LowLandLions in this game. Again, look at the goal difference. 100, if that, at 42 minutes through.
No, LowLandLions back to pushing this middle lane now. They've got that Baron buff, they've got that regen, so yes, the spears are going to land, they're going to hurt, but their health is going to come back up quite a bit quicker now they've got that bonus regeneration. They also still have that in here in their bottom lane for a couple more moments, but there they go, they're both back up now, mid and bot inhibs. But LowLandLions with this Baron buff are going to be looking to perhaps rotate around and kill it quickly while it was free, being able to push SK off that force. I mean, if SK take a straight up 5v5, LowLandLions are stronger. They need to sit back and poke. So LowLandLions should be able to brute force their way in and just push SK off this inhib. They have seemed to have caught SK here with the tail between their legs and rotated that. But must have seen this coming and knew this was coming, but haven't quite reacted in time. LowLandLions backed off with the next creep. They still have a super creep here, which is not the same to be said for SK's middle lane. So this is going to be a big, beefy front line, but with that spear landing on IM LowLandLions have to back away a little bit.
That could literally stop the push right there. Just that one javelin is like, nope, go away. You're not taking Iron Hip today. So even though LowLandLions are stronger right now, and they have a Guardian's Angeled 9-for-1 Kha'Zix with Baron, they still can't do anything if their AP mid has nearly been chunked. So instead, they're going to go back. They're going to pick up the free objective, get the dragon, get the global gold, and potentially come back stronger once IM either healed up or got some more CS. But regardless, this game is on a razor's edge. One clinical fight for either team, and this is over.
So, still got a couple of minutes left up on that Baron buff before LowLandLions. They're going to make the most. I mean, yes, it stopped the push. Yes, IM took a big spear to the face, but the region's got him back up to more or less full health now, so he hasn't had to go all the way back to the fountain. He is now helping Brobo push this top lane in, which still has a tier 2 turret standing in it. And well, if they keep that push going, they may pick that one up for free, because Morso is in that bottom lane again, looking for the inhibitor. This time, though, it's Corki they're dealing with him. And Corki, well, it may be a bit easier for Corki to deal with him than it was for Freddy122. It's not to say that Morso can't go in and 1v1 him, but another massive spear hits IM. And well, they do get the turret in the top lane, but Brobo's got to be very careful now because he's pushing any further on his own.
Yes, but they are picking up the towers thick and fast. So for the first time in this game since, I guess, 10 minutes or so, we actually have a few thousand gold difference. So, you know, LowLandLions, it's still nothing huge at 44.5 minutes, but it's still getting the ball rolling down the hill. They've got a lot of damage, though. You know, you're looking across the entire composition right now for LowLandLions. Kha'Zix can insta-kill you, Ahri can insta-kill you, Lucian's doing a lot of damage, sustained damage in team fights. And then they've got the tankiness and the terror of a Shyvana jumping on your back lines and just ruining everyone. LowLandLions are in a really good position here, but they're being forced back again.
Yeah, SK just more cohesive in this mid push, but LowLandLions are regrouping. They're going to all be here soon. And well, then SK got to be on their toes. There's a big wave of creeps in the top lane for LowLandLions, and there's a big wave of creeps in the bottom lane. So if SK do sit here without getting to him quickly, then the minions will overrun their base. So they need to be very careful of that. But LowLandLions are now all here as a 5. The spears aren't landing this time around. A couple of rockets have hit IM though. I'm waiting for that moment. 2 minutes on the Baron. There's a flash. Wow, the artist brilliantly engaged. Beautiful stun on multiple people. IM does take a spear in amongst all that, but Freddy's incredibly low. Morso's trying to do what he can, but Annie's already fallen down to Aatrox. Here comes Morso coming in, trying to execute Freddy, but he flashes away at the last second with the Ignite ticking down, and Lucian's there to finish him off. Flash forward from Morso, and it immediately removes Lulu off the map. Jesus has Zonius to keep his life up. There's still a Guardian Angel on Morso, and there is only 2 members of SK Gaming left standing.
Charlie's take a bow. Your engages have been phenomenal this game, flashing in and landing it on 3 or 4 players, turning that on its head. And as I said before, a clinical fight could spell the end. That wasn't entirely clinical. 3-for-1 trade, a couple players quite low, although Musu does have a GA at his disposal, but they're against an Aatrox on full HP and Candy Panda's Corki. They need to be careful. They're pushing. Here comes the Dark Flight, instantly popping off that GA. Do they have enough follow-up damage, though, from Candy Panda? Here comes Bro. Here comes Morsu as well. Svenskeren is tanking so much damage, but he's going to be going down into his passive. Candy Panda picks up 1. Look at this mechanical skill to take the 2nd kill. He's been popped into his GA. Morsu and Vitality are both so low right now. It's going to be a triple kill. Look at those leaps from Morsu, who manages to survive, makes the great escape. My goodness, what a game we have here.
Boing. SK Gaming, that was a beautiful defense from Candy Panda and Svenskeren. 2v4. There was half health on all the LowLandLions players. With absolutely clinical play, making the most of the revive passives, the Guardian Angels, the turret damage, brilliantly finished people off. It's a nice attempt by Lucian, hanging around afterwards to finish off Corki, knowing he had that barrier, thinking he had enough to do it. Wasn't quite enough to finish it off, but what's more important, what's a little bit worrying now for LowLandLions is the fact that those 4 kills have now gone over to Aatrox and Corki. Those are very, very high damage, important members of SK. So now that they've got that extra 600 gold apiece in their back pockets, things are a little bit more worrying for LowLandLions.
Yeah, I feel once Ahri's got the Zhonya's Hourglass, once IM picked that up, then things are going to get really interesting. Bot lane, though, have a look at these minions knocking down the inhib. Meanwhile, LowLandLions are looking to congregate around this area. The Baron clear's not phenomenal. Here comes a Tibbers from meanwhile, trying to keep some time for the rest of his team to get into position, being knocked up from Baron. How much damage does Morsu have? Can he nuke somebody out? Tibbers still doing damage, jumping in. It's going to look to completely crush the Nidalee, who instantly goes into Zhonya's, gets the the shutdown. And now Kialis is in all kinds of trouble. This Baron is still falling. Has he bought enough time for Bro to come and steal? No, he hasn't. Aatrox gets it, but here's I'm Heat looking to pick up the pieces. Kialis takes down Freddy 122, now chasing after Svenskeren and also Nif. It looks as though the burnout could very well be enough. Randuin's has been popped as well. Svenskeren does not have his Bloodwell available, so if he dies, he'll be staying dead. But he's so fast right now, constantly slowing down, but here comes the cavalry. Svenskeren is going to be a dead man. There you go.
Long chase drawn out, but ultimately the Baron was done. Bro a little bit over the top aggressive on his smite. He came over the wall thinking, crap, I'm running out of time. I've got to get this done quick. I've got to nuke this one down. But smited a little bit too soon. Still a big wave of creeps in the bottom lane, but the SK gaming lineup is already recalling. That might just be enough minions, and yes, the aggro switches from LowLandLions minions to the SK minions, and they stopped killing the inhibitor. Unfortunate for LowLandLions. They could have got that for free with the minions, but SK save it at the last second. Now with that Baron down, SK got the regen. SK have got the extra damage and the advantage, and with that inhib not being dead, they're ready to push that middle lane again and perhaps grab themselves an inhib. With up to that 50 minute, these death timers now are huge. So where this next fight takes place will be pivotal.
Yeah, and speaking of pivots, this game has basically been a seesaw. You know, just when you think one team has the upper hand, the other comes across. So I have to ask who's had the more pies? Who is going to even that seesaw more in their favor? 49, nearly 50 minutes through this game, and it's still anybody's. 7-7 on towers, only 2,000 gold, I should say. 2,000k would be a lot of money. 2,000 gold difference between the two, but they're going to be trying to pick up this dragon, and they're going to get it for free. The question is, what do they do afterwards? Because dragon, at this stage of the game, honestly, Panky, it's not that important.
No, this patch, there's not much worth for dragon at this time. I mean, they got it for free, they got 1,000 gold, fine, job done. Didn't have to risk too much for it, so why not? But ultimately, it's not quite as influential as Barons or the inhibs. Top lane is pushing in their favor. There's a big wave of creeps heading towards that side of the SK map, but in the middle lane, there's a big wave of SK players heading towards LowLandLions side of the map. They are cleaning out the jungles, grabbing their red buffs onto their respective AD carries. Now everyone's grouped up in this middle lane. We saw some godlike Shurelya's flash engages from Annie beforehand. She's got it up again, Shurelya's and flash and Tibbers and stuns all there, but there is still a Baron now on this SK gaming team. So it's a very aggressive engage if they want to go with it. The slow does go out. Not going to follow it up though.
Well, forced away the Valkyrie from Candy Panda, so it's going to be a little while perhaps before SK gets super aggressive. But as you say, all the tools are there for Kialis to make a big play again. It's only a matter of time. If someone stands even a millimeter out of place, watch for that flash, Shurelya's Tibbers. It's going to happen any second now. Question is, do they let the inhib fall first? Are they going to be able to actually let that one come down? Morsu's taking quite a bit of damage. Ball of Strike comes out, will be locking him in place, and Charlie's still yet to pull the trigger.
We're also going to look at the Guardian Angels being down on various different people, but Svenskeren still got his revive passive up. Inhib on the tiniest little sliver of HP now. Oh, Morsu just took a massive spear to the face, and as a result, they are going to have to give up this inhib sooner than originally planned. So SK picked that one up and now rotate towards the bottom lane. Big wave of creeps still in that top lane, is about to hit onto the SK turret, but that side still has the turret left. There's not an exposed inhibitor in that lane. So SK immediately rotate towards this bottom lane where they've got a big wave of creeps helping them out, and they're looking to take their second inhib turret of the game. Now with super creeps pushing their mid lane and the top lane having buffed minions as well helping it out, everything's going to start heading back in their direction. Jezis does manage to pick off Kialis with some long range spears, and that's immediately put LowLandLions further on the back foot.
Yeah, they've got a couple of GAs. Oh, I'm Heat eats a javelin to the face. That could spell doom for this inhib. Question now for LowLandLions. Do you go all in? Does this final curtain come down? Sink or swim? Fight or flight? Visality's now ate a javelin. It's just terrifying for LowLandLions. All of their important squishy targets are just getting nuked before the fight even happens.
Honestly, they were waiting and they were waiting for the Guardian Angels, and then they were going to go for their big engage, regardless of the Baron. But unfortunately, just as they started to come back up, Kialis goes down to a couple of spears. Morsu takes one and has to back off. I'm Heat takes one and has to back off. And suddenly the Guardian Angels being up doesn't make a difference. They didn't have enough players left alive to take the fight. So SK grabbed themselves 2 inhibs. It's going to be a mountain for LowLandLions now to come back from this. Having 2 inhibs down really suffers with your gameplay. And the way SK's comp sets, all they have to do now is go up towards that top lane, start sieging again, waiting, start putting a little bit of damage on the turret. Someone from LowLandLions is then going to go and have to deal with all the super creeps from the other lanes. Otherwise, those super minions would just take the Nexus on their own. And when that happens, SK just going to leap forward with Svenskeren, start finishing off the turrets in the third inhib.
Oh, they're looking to actually be the engagers, though, the initiators here. And maybe that's the way that LowLandLions are thinking. It's like, okay, if we sit back, as you said, at the top tower, they just have a flat-out better composition than us for this situation. So we're going to be the people to put the shoes on and to charge down mid. That being said, though, it just didn't really pay off for them. They've not made any ground. And as this is happening, look at bot lane. The super minions are pushing fast.
There's the Twin Shadows comes out from Kialis. We need to see Australia's engaged from him, but he's a long way ahead from his team. And that spear slams right into his face and immediately changes their mind. They are now rotating up towards this middle lane. They've got SK cut off from here. Another spear comes out. This one won't land. Brobo is going to face tank down the turret. A turret will fall very, very quickly. Can they focus down this inhib in time? They've got a lot of damage. Down goes one. Can they get the second one? If they can, this is disastrous for SK, giving up 2 free inhibitors like this. But SK do get the engage. Morso leaps in. He's got his Guardian Angel, but he's trying to do what damage he can. Down goes Kialis, but she gets Tibbers off first. Morso still in his Guardian Angel, but Svenskeren's respawning. He's got so much health, though. He comes back up with well over 1,000. Candy Panda gets popped into his Guardian Angel. Morso's down to his. Brobo is stuck on one side of the wall. He's on the other with no health. Over goes Morso. Brobo is now in his Guardian Angel, and all 5 members of SK are still standing. Brobo will fall without picking up a kill. And now, look at the base for LowLandLions. They have so many creeps to deal with. There's super minions in. There's 3 of them in there that's working away on these Nexus turrets. SK immediately will recall to get their health back up as quick as possible and run straight back out on the base. LowLandLions, 2 members left to defend for 30 seconds, and all 5 members of SK are home guarding in their direction.
Those respawn timers are brutal. That was 70 seconds for Brobo, and this is going to give SK a chance to just push right down mid. This could actually be the game, Panky. Honestly, this could be it.
It could be. There's enough time there that SK can come straight up this middle lane. They've got super creeps here right with them now. They've only got to deal with 1 wave on the spawn from LowLandLions base, and that is now gone. Kha'Zix and Ari are here. 15 seconds on Lucian, 25 on Brobo. Svenskeren's Banshees does get popped. Morso's taking a lot of damage, though. Huge damage from I'm Heat on the backside of SK. Forced him away from the tower for a little while, but that spear will ultimately seal his fate. Freddy has to come out. Down goes the Ari. Down goes the 2 Nexus turrets. And, well, Freddy 122 and Svenskeren are completely ignoring Visuality that's trying to finish them off and focusing down the Nexus itself. Panda doing the same as Morso whips into his face. And SK Gaming, after a 55-minute-long marathon, do knock down LowLandLions.
Simply an epic, epic matchup between these two. LowLandLions gave as good as they got throughout that game, and I have to give them mad props. Coming in last second, taking SK Gaming to the wire. 55.5 minutes. For a large portion of that game, LowLandLions could have won. Like they really could have won that match.
They could have won that game all the way through. Even after losing those 2 inhibitors, that last push, trying to get those 2 inhibs at the bottom, if they'd have perhaps got that middle one, rotated away and backed straight out instead of turning to fight it, they still had a chance there. Instead, they got a couple of people charmed up. They caught. Morso jumped in. Some of them are focusing the inhib. They just seemed a little bit miscommunicated, a little bit discombobulated at that second inhib on their push. That is what we meant with the experience, though. That's the kind of situation where SK would have all been on the same page. They'd all know what to do. They'd all gone for it. LowLandLions hadn't ever quite been there before. They haven't made 55-minute games that often. It's hard to scrim with that. Some of them had slightly different decisions. Some thought, right, I'll go in and stall them. You get the inhib. Some thought, no, I'll get the inhib, or we should all get it. As it was, Morso, a lot of their inhib damage, and he tried to delay. So it didn't quite work out for him. And they very nearly all came back up in time to defend it. But SK just went clinical strike straight in. Turrets in Nexus, dead.
And I think a lot of that can be attributed to Candy Panda and Svenskeren's awesome defense in that 2 versus 4. That was huge.
Big play, very big play with the use of the Guardian Angel, the use of the revive passives, got rid of all the minions very, very quickly and manipulated their turret aggro and their mechanics, and the communication just between those 2, top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome game. I kind of ran out of superlatives for that. It was just unbelievably good.
Yeah, it was great. But again, it's a group stage game. So LowLandLions, a very, very good start. Okay, not quite the win they were looking for, but a great start nonetheless. They've got more games coming later on. We've now got to see our Super Games crew.
Yes.
Our ghost team. We are having severe trouble tracking down from. We're going to have them come in the next game, but we are going to run to a very quick commercial break, catch our breaths, let the players relax a little bit, and come back in just a moment.